Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Atlanta. Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Randy Buehler. And we've got Brian Kibler versus Tomoharu Saito. This is the first draft of the day. Ignore the names. We will get those fixed for you momentarily here. And Fire Drinker Sater for Saito.
Doing some pretty good work blocking here.
No kidding. Kibler took that Bronze Sable in the draft. We wondered if he would take it. He took it. He needed 2 drops.
Yeah.
And, hey, it's doing exactly what a 2-drop is supposed to do here in Brian Kibler's deck, which is get in the way.
Yeah. I think Blade Tusk Boar is the best thing to get in the way of with a Bronze Sable, but Fire Drinker Satyr will do just fine. Seems like Saito will decline to attack here. Oh, he's going to... Yeah.
And he's just going to have to trade. Saito's going to take 2 damage off of this exchange.
I think Saito with the subtle, like, second land, quickly attack. I have rise to the challenge.
Right.
Kibler's not fine. He's like, whatever.
Kibler just snaps off the block.
Yeah.
No play from Saito.
I mean, just trading Bronze Sable for any card from your opponent's hand is normally good enough. Plus, you prevent the damage.
Absolutely.
You even deal a little damage. Even if there is a combat trick coming, that's fine. He's even made his opponent spend his turn 3 playing the combat trick. Even better for Brian Kibler, there was no third land from Saito on that turn 3. He does now have land number 3 here on turn 4.
And Searing Blood is going to take down the Deepwater Hypnotist. And, well, that can be painful from Kibler's end because he's going to take the 3 damage. He can't be too bummed to see Deepwater Hypnotist, the recipient of the Searing Blood, as he's got to have better targets, though. No land drop for Kibler as he passes a turn back.
You look at the cards in the graveyard, it feels like Brian's winning. He's traded 2 of the worst cards in his deck for 2 of the 2 better cards from Saito's deck.
Agreed, but in the meantime, Kibler takes 4 damage from a Minotaur Skullcleaver. It draws his card for the turn. Is it a land? No,
that's
it's
bad.
not.
What's his hand? Like Aqueous Form Raised by the Wolves, I think I
saw.
saw?
I saw those too. He's got Colossal Heroics. That's not going to do anything with no creatures on the battlefield. Wow, he's got a Nullify in his hand with no double blue. It's just misery for Kibler here. I'm assuming once he finds that 4th land, he's going to be able to start deploying some blockers immediately.
Yeah, but we just named 4 spells, none of which do anything.
That's right.
And
they're Borderland Minotaur now as Saito hits his land drop. And can Kibler find his? No, he finds a 4. Yeah, but not the 4th land. And things getting real nasty for Kibler very quickly here as he's going to be taking over half of his life total on this next combat step from Saito. There's 6 damage to Kibler, bringing him down to 5, and Saito doesn't need to do much.
Wow.
An Eagle of the Watch and, wow, Satyr Hoplite. And I think that's going to do it here. And Kibler doesn't really get to play much Magic there.
First 3 turns went perfect, but he needed a 4th land. He needed to start playing. It just, wow. Saito hiccuped and drew out of it. Kibler hiccuped and never did.
He never did. And I mean, it seems like a perfectly reasonable keep from Kibler. He had 2 2-drops and 2 lands.
Agreed.
You figure you can do some things with that, but if you just literally never draw another land, well, there's no good keeps there. So
both of these players are 8-1. We'll try to get the records updated. Those that are 8-1, not 8-0. They drafted on pod number 2. Some nice names on pod 2. In addition to the 2 of these guys, Chris Fennell was at that table. Vidyanta Wijaya, David Ochoa, pretty good pod. Wonder if we can get a look. Are we able to get a look in on the Frolik Watanabe match? Awesome. Yeah, Frolik and Watanabe are also 8-1. Frolik's got a lot on the line this weekend. If he top 8s this Grand Prix, he clinches platinum.
Really?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to need to find some points between now and Portland.
He needs to do 3 over the minimum.
Okay. Let's take a look at our upcoming webcast schedule. We've got a great summer lined up for you here. Grand Prix Manchester is block constructed. That's the last block constructed for Theros block. So if you enjoyed the Pro Tour coverage and those decks, you might enjoy whatever the evolution is in Manchester, May 31st through June 1st. And we've got a pair of standard events on back-to-back weekends in the middle of June in Moscow and Chicago. DC and Milan, same weekend as Theros Limited. And then we've got Boston which is modern, followed up by the Pro Tour. Magic 2015, August 1st through 3rd. Got a little bit of a little blurry here, but we'll get the camera adjusted for you as at the earliest convenience. But we can still kind of see what's going on here.
It's Froelich on the left.
Yep.
Watanabe on the right.
Yeah, and it looks like a pair of Flurry of Horns tokens hitting the red zone against a 2-2 and a 2-3. With Watanabe tapped out, and Yifro's going to double block to kill 1. Take 2 damage.
Trades his Leaf Crown Dryad for a 2-3. It's reasonable. Yeah, Froelich needs 3 points sometime between now and the end of the season to get back to platinum status again. I mean, he'd also love to go to Worlds, but he's probably going to have to make a run at the next Pro Tour to pull that off.
The threshold seems to be rising pretty sharply on the at-large invites for Worlds, for World Championship.
Yeah, it takes 40. Currently, it takes 44. People suspect. I mean, those 44s will get at least 3 points from Portland, so the line's going to be at least 47. Most people are speculating it's around 50.
Going to have to do something at a GP or a PT worth points to make it.
Yeah, Froelich has a his 5th best GP finish is currently a top 64. So the way he explains, he has a 1. He needs to replace the 1 point. Would like to have his 5 GP finishes be more than a point.
Pick up a top 8 or something, bump that total up.
Yeah, top 8 is 4, so that would give him the +3 that he needs to clinch platinum. Saito draw their opening hands down in the lower right. Sure, we'll get back over there if they keep those.
Yeah, Golden Hide Ox for
looks like they are off to the races.
Yep, we can jump back over to our main match here, and there it is. Yep. Oh, that looks a lot better. And Saito has another fairly aggressive start here with the solid 2-drop Oreskos Sun Guide. And Kibler hasn't done anything yet again. No 2-drops this time.
No 3s either? Ouch. Yeah, Saito's very aggressive. You know, Fire Drinker Satyr, Death Bellow Raider, Coordinated Assault, Skull Cleaver. It's definitely got the aggro red-white going. Sun Guide, obviously.
Sun
Couple
Guide
Fearsome Tempers to make those.
Oh yeah,
even
very
harder.
aggressive.
Forge Stoker Dragon. 2 Flurry of Horns. Base red, splashing white. It's a glimpse of the Sun God in there as well. Looks pretty solid. Kibler is green-blue. We watched him draft this deck. Pretty interesting draft. His first pick was King Makar.
Yes. A lot of maneuvering for Kibler. He really had to kind of read the table and find what his seat wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Took him a while to do it, but he did. Ended up in a really nice 2-color pair here. This will be an interesting one. Tomohiro Saito gains a couple of life, but will he attack?
Yeah, stuck on land was his real problem. He failed to play land 3. I think he just drew it.
Given the lands that he has available,
do you think he can just attack?
I mean, he can definitely attack and represent any number of combat tricks.
Yeah.
The question is just, does Kibler say, well, I'll trade my Tromper for a combat trick or not? And as it turns out, he doesn't need to bother with it.
I'll just make a 4/4.
Fearsome Temper hit you. This is where Kibler would love to see a bounce spell of some sort, maybe a retraction helix or anything along those lines.
Does have a couple retraction helixes.
Does he?
Is that Jensen? Might blur into 2 drafts we watched.
Huey had
My
2.
apologies.
I don't know if Kibler does.
No, I think I'm thinking about
I don't
Huey's
think
deck.
he does,
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Sorry about that.
All right, but he's going to start things
He does
off
have a
with an
hubris.
attack. He has a what?
Hubris.
A hubris, right. Hubris, again, though, not great here. Now, this is nice, though.
Yeah.
Nessian Game Warden as a 4/5. Rock solid, and he's even going to find a creature and Warwing Siren off of it. Not bad. This is really going to force the issue back on Saito, though the same thing that we said before is still true in that Saito can still just attack and represent any number of combat tricks, and he probably has one. We're talking about red-white here. There's no shortage there. The question, of course, again, is if Kibler just says, yeah, sure,
He
show
kind
me.
of has to start thinking about blocking, right? He's at 14. What, he's
Saito?
just going to take Yeah, I'm saying
Oh, Kibler. Sorry.
if
Yeah.
Saito attacks, doesn't Kibler have to? He can't just keep taking 4.
No. So he's gonna block.
Yeah.
Let's get those combat tricks out of your hand.
It's kind of a nice tempo play too, because
Yeah.
sure, he loses his Game Warden, but he trades a card for a card, and if Saito is forced to spend mana on his combat trick, he probably can't do anything else to develop his board. So it helps him from a tempo standpoint.
Also,
as well.
it isn't really a card for a card because that Nessian Game Warden replaced itself with a Warwing Siren, so
Right.
Kibler really ends up nicely ahead on that transaction.
Now, does Tromper attack? I think you attack with Tromper here. I don't think if you leave it on defense, you're giving Saito the option to just spend 3 mana to say no blocks.
All right, no land problems this game for Kibler, that's for sure. He's going to attack with this Tromper. Does he have another big follow-up play?
Well, we know he's got the Warwing Siren.
There's that. But he's got another card too, which is Setessan Oathsworn. Not the best blockers here, but he is threatening to start cracking in for large chunks of damage. I wonder how much that life gain is going to start mattering from the Oresco Sun Guide. He's already gained, like, I think this will be his 6th life that he gains when he untaps with it here.
How good would Colossal Heroics be here for Brian Kibler?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. He gets to just attack with the team, Colossal Heroics.
Or wait and, like, ambush defense.
Oh, yes.
Triggering Tromper, triggering all 3 of his creatures. I can't play the Strive 3 times, but
you can do it twice, though. Oh,
yeah.
man, that's nasty.
I don't know if it's in his hand, but he did get past the late one. Saito, meanwhile, still stumbling on mana.
Scouring Sands.
Huh. Not bad.
You don't see that very often, but that's a solid 1-for-1 here for
I
Saito.
like Scouring Sands at this point. It
I
feels
do
like it's
too.
just been getting better with every new set that comes out.
I think people get greedy with it. I think they need to kill 3 creatures with it. You know, you can just kill 1.
Yeah.
You get a scry, like the card's good.
There's the second mountain. Oh wow, Scouring Sands had already dealt 1, so Magma Spray was able to finish off the Warwing Siren.
And there's another 4 damage hitting Kibler, and Kibler's just having a hard time racing because the Sun Guide keeps gaining Saito life.
It's also hard to race when your opponent kills all your stuff.
No kidding. But
And Tromper doesn't
Tromper's
have
a 5/5.
He's growing, but he's not going to win this race by himself. Interesting. Brian now has to decide whether to keep attacking or whether he needs to play defense. Colossal Heroics would, of course, allow him to do both. Though that Fearsome Temper makes blocking particularly hard.
It does. If it comes to that point,
Wow.
this will help a lot. Raised by Wolves. That's going to account for 7 total power on that Tromper.
And gives him 2 blockers.
And gets him 2 blockers. Pretty insane. So Saito falls down to 12. Goes back up to 14 from the Oresco Sun Guide, and it's inspired. Draws a Fire Drinker Satyr, the most miserable.
Yep.
When your opponent has a 7/7, which soon to be an 8/8.
I think I saw Searing Blood in his hand as well.
Yes, he does have that.
So, I mean, if he attacks, Kibler would double block?
He may. He also might just figure
Take
1
it and
wolf per
race.
turn. You could take it and race too. I mean, he is going to have 12, let's see, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 power on the board.
Double block seems better than chunk block here.
How come?
Although he would get blown out by Searing Blood. He's going to race. He says take it.
I like it. Observe an Alseid and a Fire Drinker Satyr. Passes the turn back to Kibler, but it feels like Kibler's really been able to capitalize on having full access to his mana this game versus Saito, who's been really struggling. Even though his curve looks good, Saito's, he still just hasn't really been able to stay ahead. As basically they've both sort of moved in on 1 creature, and right now Kibler's is an 8/8. Saito's is still a 4/4. Kibler is at 6, though. And he's thinking about how he wants to proceed. Saito at 14. He's gained either 8 or 10 from his Resco Sun Guide, which came down on turn 2 and has not attacked yet.
Correct.
Right now?
Yeah.
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Kibler's doing some math here. Colossal Heroics would be fantastic
Yeah.
here.
I always wonder when they're doing the math this publicly or this obviously if they're bluffing, representing some kind of card.
All right, he's got aerial formation here
Wow.
to send 2 of his wolves to this guy's, and he's got Colossal Heroics as well.
He is
So that's 4, 7, 8, 9, 10,
13.
11, 12, 13,
Okay,
14.
Yeah, 7.
right? Because the
I-
Heroics gives +2/+2 to that thing.
Yeah.
10.
But the
Aerial formation.
aerial
plus
formation
2.
also gives +1/+1
To
to
two
both.
different creatures.
Right.
So that's plus
So
4.
So that's 4, 5, 6,
6,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
10,
12, 13,
13,
14,
15.
15 actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
15.
that'll do it. So Kibler, though, sometimes it takes, you got to really make sure. Look, he's got his
Yeah.
opponent tapped out. He had the win on the board.
Right.
But you
just
want to
gotta
make sure.
Make sure it's there.
The last thing you want to do is fire that off and have Saito go, sure, take 13. Like, uh-oh. I mean, although in that spot, I think you may have been fine anyway. All right, let's move over to our secondary match where the focus looks great.
Yeah, this looks like a game 2. Can we find out who won the first game?
I like the Eric Froelich side of the table here. Look at all those cards. Time to Feed. He's got light Retraction Helix in his yard, Leaf Crown Dryad, and on the battlefield he's got Kyora's Follower and Nyxborn Triton.
All right. Yuya Watanabe won the first game. So Ifro trying to tie it up.
Now on the other side of the table we have Yuya, and he's got less awesome board here with Setessan Starbreaker, which
Watanabe's at 12. Froelich's at 14.
Bolt of Keranos is going to hit the Nyxborn Triton. And Ifro's thinking he's got 2 mana up.
Yep.
Maybe a Savage Surge in the future here. Nope. Down it goes. You saw him point to the Flame Speaker Adept. That's going to get the bonus, and he's going to attack with both. That's 6 damage that Ifro's going to take here. Dropping him down to 6.
I think Froelich at 14, so 8.
Okay. Watanabe's the one that was at 12.
Yeah. Eric was unable to attack. Watanabe's trying to figure out what he can attack with.
Yeah, both of them into the red zone,
Yeah, Flame
and
Speaker Adept's
there's a
always a
trade.
little-
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This is scary if you're an Ifro side of the board, because anything that that can produce an instant speed scry here, well, it's not going to do that, but it is going to be a pump spell. Ifro
The
doesn't have a
old-fashioned
second
way.
Helix. Yeah, the good old-fashioned way. And that's going to get 2 damage in.
Oh, geez. Magma
Hey.
Spray, too.
Magma Spray as well to further lock down Ifro from
So we've got Froelich
his
on
5th mana
6
source.
now, I think. No creatures, 4 lands, 5th land.
5th land go.
Oh, jeez.
Flurry of Horns, game time. And it looks
Results
like
in a
Yuya's,
handshake.
yeah, won that match.
Yeah, Yuya Watanabe moves to 9-1. Froelich picks up a second loss, so he needs to go on a run now. If he wants to get to top 8 that he needs to clinch platinum, he's going to have to win 4 in a row. Then maybe you can draw in 1,300 people at this Grand Prix. Maybe 2 losses and a draw is the line. We'll have to see how the math works out down the stretch, but clearly got to win the next 4, maybe the next 5.
His deck looked good.
Yeah, it did. His deck looked fine, but I mean, Yuya Watanabe also fine. Good player. Deck looked totally reasonable.
Oh, we're going to get a game 3 here with Brian Kibler versus Saito. Saito's from Japan.
And hopefully
He's
we
got
can move one of those back matches
4 or
up.
5 PT top 8s?
Saito, I think he's
Question
got
mark?
5.
5-ish? He's got a ton of them.
Yeah, he was voted into the Hall of Fame at one point, but that voting went away when he got a suspension for kind of an accumulation of slow play over the course of his career. So he's now done his time. He's back. He's trying to prove himself again. And been hitting the Grand Prix circuit pretty hard.
Yeah, he's a big-time deck builder as well. He posts his decks
Oh, yeah.
on social media, and people listen when he posts a deck.
Yeah, no, great deck builder. He also owns a card shop now. He's actually, his card shop that he runs hired Kenji Samura.
Really?
He's responsible for Kenji's return to the Pro Tour, yeah. He's been sponsoring Kenji as an employee and then also to go to the Pro Tours and wear Saito's shop shirt.
And Kibler's got a pretty dreamy start here with the turn 2 Voyaging Satyr, but Saito answers
Skullcleaver
nicely
leaves a mark.
with the Minotaur Skullcleaver for 4. There's a turn 3/4 drop for Brian Kibler in the form of Ferris Van Tromper.
Yeah.
Perforos's Emissary
Saito has figured
follow-up.
out Kibler's willingness to block. He's not even going to bluff a combat trick. Not even attacking. A lot of people would attack with that 2-2 there, and a lot of those 2-2s would get through.
Yep.
People are afraid to block, but not Kibler.
And raised by
Wow.
Wolves on turn 4. And you see the power of Voyaging Satyr here on Kibler's side of the
Crazy.
board. It seemed so innocuous on
Yeah.
turn 2, and then he played
He's offering
4-drop,
Saito a
5-drop.
double block. Right, that's a 5-5 Tromper.
Yes.
I think Saito may have to double block. Otherwise, the Tromper's just going to keep growing. He can't race that board. I think I would double block.
I think you're right.
Like, you deal with the race by Wolves. I mean, the Wolves will be left over, but
It's super
it's
annoying to have
almost
the
a 2
Wolves
for 2.
there.
It's like a 1.5 for 2. But, I mean, your Skullcleaver already got in a hit.
I don't know. I feel like you're still 2 for 1-ing him, but I think you just take the 2 for 1. I mean, 2 Wolves is worth a card at least, so.
But the Tromper is so gigantic here.
Yeah, I think you. I know. I'm saying, like, I think
You
that if
agree
you're
with double
Saito,
block?
you just say, "Look, I got to get 2 for 1 sometimes," and
Yeah.
you take it because it's
I
not getting
agree.
any better from here. This is and you have Kibler completely tapped out, no tricks.
Right, exactly. You may not get this double block situation again.
And you,
No, he
yeah,
takes it.
He takes it though. Interesting. Maybe he has something like a Portent of Betrayal or a Harness by Force that he wants to try to get Kibler with if he slips up. Because he's in red. You know, what
He
does he
hasn't
have?
shown
that
us a
can deal
planes
with it?
either.
No.
I mean, he could be color
I
screwed.
guess there's a Divine Verdict possibility or something to deal with something like that, Tromper. There's a lot of different reasons, but
I don't think he's been slow rolling white mana. I think he just doesn't have any. There's not even a great attack for Saito, which is the other reason I like that double block.
right.
I mean, Emissary will get double blocked. Skullcleaver will trade for 1 wolf.
Saito taking his time here.
Mountain number 5.
Okay, I think he has a Magma Spray.
So he can attack with Emissary and blow Kibler out if Kibler does double block.
Yeah. is portent.
Wow, he just does it now.
Interesting.
I think it's
Now he's not going to get the +2/+2 from the wolf here, though, right?
so I
Or
still
yeah, see, this actually matters because Kibler still controls the enchantment. Does it check how many wolves Kibler controls then? Because if that's the case, he will still get it. He does get the counter on it because it untaps it.
Right. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each wolf you control. So yes, Kibler still controls the Raised by Wolves enchantment. Kibler
So
still controls the
you
wolves.
is the controller.
So that is a 6 power Tromper. That's 11 power worth of guys. Yeah,
Kibler
Kibler's gonna
immediately chump blocks both creatures. Well, not chumps, trades with the.
trades for the Skull Cleaver and
Yeah.
chump blocks the 6 power Tromper. Takes 3 from the Emissary, but not interested in taking 6 and keeping its wolf alive. Huh. Saito can now Magma Spray the Tromper. With both wolves dead, it's only a 4/4,
Wow.
and the Magma Spray goes down.
Wow.
That's a nice line of play from Tomohiro.
Look at that.
I think he saw all that coming.
How the heck did he end up with having this board state after that?
Yeah, no, we would have double blocked, both of us. Our board state had 2 wolves and a satyr to nothing. I like Tomohiro's board state better. I mean, he does have a portent and a Magma Spray in his graveyard, but still,
Yeah,
it's a nice line.
that's much better than the alternative. I mean, if Kibler leaves one wolf alive,
Right, then the
then
Magma Spray
none of
play
this
doesn't work.
works, but
But he's not
He-
gonna.
he knew. And the follow-up play is Bronze Sable for Brian Kibler, so Saito
Saito
has
needs a
really swung the
plains.
pendulum back
And
in his
Saito
direction,
draws
and he draws
plains.
the planes too.
pretty common.
Kibler could definitely have Nullify here. He's left up double blue. He has access to 3 mana thanks to the Satyr.
Kibler goes for a double block.
Yeah,
Lines it up.
he's
That
doing
seems
it.
correct. And is it gonna work?
One.
Wow.
Nope, aerial formation.
Saves the satyr. Still a 2 for 1, but I think that's fine.
So why do you think that he wanted to save the Satyr so bad?
Well, he can only save the guy in the back
Mm-hmm.
because of the way.
But I mean, he's losing 2 cards either way.
He's only got 4 lands in play.
So
I
you're
mean, the
saying
5th
it's just the
mana-
5th mana?
I mean,
Okay.
what would you rather have? A 5th mana in play or an aerial formation in your hand with
Sure.
no obvious targets?
I'd rather have 5th mana in play.
Yeah, me too.
All right, pin that eagle to the earth and attack with
Get in
Voyaging Satyr.
there.
I like it. This does mean that it's unlikely that Kibler has Nullify now.
Yeah.
As he would have just left that Satyr back. So Saito gets free reign to resolve something here, but has nothing and passes the turn back. We got a real game here in game 3. Kibler came out of the
Loose deck.
gates. Saito equalized. Now they're both at parity. And a Setessan Oathsworn, not the most threatening on its own. Only 2 power on the side for Kibler, but that can get out of hand pretty quickly. Saito seems to be finding more lands, but now he's found a card he wants to play.
Huh.
Forge Stoker Dragon.
Just a dragon.
Not just a dragon.
You thought you top decked.
Jeez.
How's this work?
Not much Kibler can do against that card. Take a look at Forge Stoker Dragon there. 1 and a red, it deals the damage to target creature. Creature can't block, especially if it's dead, and you can only do it when you're attacking with it, but so what? He's going to be attacking with it very shortly here.
Yeah, Saito's got the mana to kill both of Brian's creatures on this next attack phase.
Yeah. And he can stack, he can do it correctly so that he makes sure
Yeah.
this Setessan
Nail
Oathsworn
the
dies
Oathsworn,
first.
wait and see if there's a trick.
Yeah,
No trick? Okay, now I'll
That's
turn my
dead.
attention to the satyr.
exactly. So what does Kibler have? He's going to need something pretty incredible. Okay, that's pretty good. He finds a Leaf Crown Dryad.
Wow.
And is he going to attack here? He does
He
have
could
Saito
block.
down to 13. Yes, but he's not going to. He's going to attack.
Hold on.
So 5 damage here. Remember, that Eagle of the Watch can block
Yes.
once.
Can Kibler really win this race? I mean, having a, I guess it's a 5/5 blocker, so it would just trade with the dragon. If he got to block, that is.
Well,
if
it
Saito had
bestow
no trick.
trades. I mean, he's
Right, it bestow trades.
Yeah.
Right, Kibler has chosen to race instead of trying to block.
I wonder what this tells Tomohiro Saito about
He did
Kibler's
see.
hand.
Has he seen the Colossal Heroics?
Yes, he saw it in the last game. He knows it's there. Uncastable this turn,
Right.
so Saito does get to mow down the Voyaging Satyr and hit for 5 damage if he wants. Saito took it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So he declines the bestow trade as well, and declines the chump block.
Yeah,
A little surprised by declining the chump block.
I am
there.
too. It feels risky, right? Like, you let Kibler untap and maybe bounce it and not where you don't ever get to chump block with it or something like that.
Maybe Tomohiro's got enchantment removal in his deck.
Could be,
Imagining
absolutely.
freeing that eagle from the pin.
Even then, that eagle's probably relegated to chump block. I mean, it's certainly not going to attack through a big reach creature later. All right,
Alright.
here's Forge Stoker Dragon.
1 point.
Do 1,
1 point.
2, so kill your Voyaging Satyr.
Okay, fine.
Kibler doesn't even bother untapping his island to represent tactics or anything. Oh, follow the hammer. So brutal. Saito very calmly just crushes Brian Kibler's biggest creature with a hammer, leaving him with Forge Stoker Dragon versus a lowly Leaf Crown Dryad, and it's going to take something pretty special to get Kibler out of this mess now. He's got a lot of cards in hand, though. That's the good news. And he does have
Calmly
Saito down
attacks.
to 6. Yeah, he's not dead. Warwing Siren, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Saito can kill
Saito's
it.
got 4 activations right now, so he doesn't get to kill Kibler this turn if he wants to get rid of the Siren. This is going to be interesting.
You kill the Siren and hit with the dragon, right?
Yeah, that puts Kibler down to 5, and it leaves Saito with just a couple of lands left
Puts
over.
Kibler to 5, 3.
Sorry, puts him to 3. It hits Kibler for 5. Puts him to 3.
Pretty sure Saito drew a mountain. I mean, some of this may just be posturing, representing that he's got a spell to think about. I can't imagine he wants to play defense here. You don't get to use the dragon's ability on defense. Get in the red zone. Give me something to do with my mana. I guess he has to decide which creature to kill. I think you kill the Siren so you can clear a path. Otherwise, it'll just chump block.
1.
1, a 2, a 3.
Siren down. Brian Kibler takes 5, falls to 3.
Saito's
Saito-
like, I'm not bluffing. I want another land.
Yep.
I've got this giant activated ability. I just want all
Kibler
my
needs
lands in
something
play.
right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Saito
He's dead
can
to
just
dragon.
attack.
Dragon attacks, kills the Leaf Crown before it can chump block. Yeah, Saito's not going to risk going down to 4. He's just, it's time for him to jump block.
Kibler passes a turn back. You can see this is the last match going in our feature match area here. And this one's intense. All right, here is Colossal Heroics.
Okay, before Saito can start pumping mana.
Right, but he still has
Yeah,
enough to
it's
just
a
do 4
4/4,
to it,
yeah.
and that's going to do it. Kibler has to extend the hand. Tomohiro Saito defeats him 2 games to 1.
Kibler was like, maybe this Colossal Heroics will make